We hate silence. Good morning, Monica.
Good morning, Dan.
I was just talking about need versus want.
Okay.
I mean, with all the talk about interest rates going on today, it's probably true that you can't buy as much house today as you could a year ago for the same money if you need a loan, because interest rates have just gone up. It's a fact of life.
I agree.
The truth is, we don't think about it, but we're actually getting sort of with 6%. Now 7 is getting a little high, but at 6%, it's kind of getting back to normal, because 3% is not a normal thing. We had an anomaly, if you will, when we were down in the threes, and I had a house that someone bought and he paid 2.74%. So, but he had excellent credit, and that's terrible. But for us, I mean, it's good for him. But the thing is that we need to look at what we need versus what we want, and that's one of the reasons that people get pre-qualified. I mean, why do you think people get pre-qualified, Monica?
I would say the first step would be to figure out their purchase power,
Correct.
and then moving forward to their needs, and if they can fit in their wants to that purchase power, then I think that's where their wants should come into play.
Here's also what I think. Knowledge is power, for one thing. We all know that. The more knowledge you have, the better you are. When you know how much house you can afford, let's say that you can afford a $350,000 or $400,000 house. Do you really want to go out and preview $800,000 houses?
Absolutely not.
And why would that be?
And really, I think maybe not even, I think it'll boil down to their monthly affordability. So even if that 350 pre-approval is outside of their monthly affordability, I think it always circles back to searching within your affordability. Do you agree?
I agree. And the other thing is, it's what's going to happen is if they go out and they view an $800,000 house or $1 million house, they're never going to be happy with a $400,000 house again.
I agree.
It's terrible, but it's true. You don't want to go out and drive a high dollar Mercedes if all you can afford is a Camry. You're just not going to be happy, And that's, and buying a house is about happy. But so we get back to want versus needs. You know the size of your family at the moment or your situation, and maybe you want 3 bedrooms, but can you survive with 2? Because, and when I say survive, you're going to pay somebody's mortgage. It's going to be your mortgage or their mortgage. And so do you want to? The other thing I said yesterday, I think, and I talked to a couple of young men, but you start your savings account when you buy a house, because the first payment you start building equity. Now, granted, it's not very much, but it's something. And so you start building equity, and that's a savings plan, whether you want to call it that or not. It is. We told the story yesterday about Jason, who bought a house for $176,000. They had paid 14% interest and sold it years later for $450,000.
Yeah.
That sounds like a savings plan to me.
Had a good appreciation there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's and there are houses available. I looked this morning, and in Fresno, compared to 6 months ago, in Fresno right now we have 630 single-family homes, and we have 220 in Clovis, single-family homes that are available. So there's houses out there to pick from, and we also, I looked, between the two, we have like 72 2-bedrooms, 410 3-bedrooms, and 274 4-bedrooms. And the prices vary. And in Fresno, there's some as low as, well, actually there was one at 125, but it was a fixer up that needed fixing to be nice about it.
Get what you paid for.
You look at that, and so, the other thing is, so do you need a yard? How much yard do you need? Now, maybe you got a couple children, they're small, and you want them to have a place to play. Or you have a pet, you want a place for the pet to run. But do you need that? And so you may have to scale down what you want versus what you need. But this is just a first step, maybe, because I'm primarily at the moment talking about first-time home buyers. Because if you've already got a home, then you've already started your savings plan. You're already doing something, and so I'm not addressing those folks necessarily. But the first-time home buyers, especially, what do you need? Not what you want. We all want maybe more. We all want a better life. We all want better things. We all want to improve our situation. So then the next thing, but you got to start somewhere. So where do you start? That's the thing. Where do you start? And and if you don't start, then you never get there.
Yeah. And you'll continue to pay someone else's investment off as long as you rent. And to add to that, Dan, I was talking to my preferred lender a couple of weeks back, and we've really been touching base on the Equity Builder program that is very beneficial for first-time home buyers.
Wow. Is that the one where they simulate things?
That's the program that's offering a buyer up to 10% of the purchase price of their home as a gift. So, for example, if they're purchasing a $300,000 home, they have the opportunity to be gifted up to the $30,000, as long as they meet the criteria of the loan requirements. One of those being that they reside the home for 5 years.
Okay.
But first-time home buyer that's looking for a home, their first home, and to build some equity, I think that's definitely a great program that they have available to them to check out.
So we're not giving them money to go in and try to make some money on an investment, and we're giving them some money to try to have a place to live.
Have a place to live, absolutely.
Right, that's awesome. They also have some, the other side of this is a lot of people think that you have to have 20% down to buy a house.
Yeah.
I've heard that, and people say that all the time. And that would be great if you have it, but you can also get in sometimes for 3.5% or 5%. It depends on the program you go in, and there's a lot of first-time buyer programs out there, at least several that people can help with. And the main thing is knowing what you can do, and it really doesn't take a lot to find out. Normally, I go on a principle of 2-2-2. And so normally you need 2 bank statements, 2 months of bank statements, you need 2 paychecks, and you need 2 years of tax records. And depending where you go, that's probably going to change a little bit, but that's the basic.
Yeah.
And there are also, so you don't know what you can do until you find out. And so if you think you have to save to get 20%, that's a myth. That's a myth.
Yeah.
And maybe one day we can talk about all the myths that are out there, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, we'll have to bring them. We'll have to highlight a myth a day when we get on. No, it definitely. No, as a matter of fact, this program that I mentioned to you, a buyer can get into a home with as little as $1,000 to $3,000 out of pocket, and so that's definitely opening up an opportunity for a first-time home buyer that could use help with the financial end of it.
And there's also when you buy a new home, sometimes the builders kick in money on closing costs and things like that. You have to do some work, because typically they're not landscaped, at least in the back, and so there's some work, and you might need some concrete work in the future at some point when you can afford it. But there's a lot of different options out there. There's also, then the other thing is sometimes you have people that have a low credit score. And I know that there are some programs out there with some lenders that they can simulate. They can figure out what the person has, and they can simulate what they need to pay and what they don't need to pay. So to build their score up. And there's some other things that people can do. You know, there's some, like I've been told, you can get a secured credit card and
Yeah.
start building some credit that way. And there's been some people that have had bankruptcies due to no fault of their own necessarily. Just life happens,
Yeah.
and they have situations that are beyond their control.
And there are definitely situations that they can work through in their due time. Absolutely. I've seen it done. I've seen it done time and time again. I think that'd be a good call for us to bring Cynthia on to answer any credit.
Okay. Good morning, Edgar. So there's I don't know. You have anything else this morning, Monica? That I think there's people can build a list too by pros and cons. And start wants and needs. What do you need? What do do you need 2 bedrooms? Yes. I need 2 bedrooms. Do you need 2 bathrooms? I do, because my wife would have a heart attack if I shared her bathroom.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But
No, Dan, I think it's definitely a great starting point, especially for a first-time home buyer. Really, really hunting down to figuring out their needs versus their wants, and if we can, absolutely focusing on finding them a home that would cover their needs, and if we can find one that also has the wants, then it's a win-win for everyone.
so, Monica, can you take this for just a minute or two, and I'll be right back.
Sure. Okay, it says. JR, are you still on? What about you, Bertha? Are you still on?
I apologize, Monica. I had somebody ringing my doorbell.
No worries. Trying to see who was on, to see if they had any questions, but I'm not able to see who's on.
Well, I see Edgar. Let's see, can I scroll down? Jesus. There's Thomas the realtor. So, hi, Thomas. And there's looks like Allie. And a couple others. In any case, I think that, I don't have a lot more this morning. I want to thank you, Monica, for joining me. I think it's always better to have two opinions, if you will, 2 trains of thought.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much for this, Dan. I appreciate us being able to share our needs versus wants with any first-time home buyer searching for.
Oh, by the way, Monica, why don't you give out your phone number? What's your phone number if somebody needs to talk to you?
Here, I'm going to put my phone number down on the chat, and I leave this question. My question to everyone watching is, who do you know that has any questions about buying their first home? Or who do you know that could benefit for up to $30,000 as gift money to purchase their first home?
Well, that's a better question than mine. I don't see the chat, Monica. Where's the chat at? Is there a chat?
Yeah, it's down at the bottom. I put my...
Oh, I can put a comment, I guess. Yeah, okay. So, I'll just put my name and number in there. So, the 314-5424. So if anybody has a question, I'm here. So, and I'm not trying to tell you a house. We both want to help you. However we can help you, whether you use us as a realtor or not, if we have questions we can answer, we're happy to do that. I think I subscribe, and I think Monica does too, to Zig Ziglar's theory. You get what you want in life when you help enough other people get what they want. And so we're just here to try to help. And however we can do that. So anyway, with that, are we done, Monica, for the day?
Good. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.